Now, Pohatu was the first Bionicle character I ever got, and he's hands down been my favorite Bionicle character ever since the beginning. He's easily the most unique Toa design of all 6 of the originals, and even compared to most Toa, he's like just his play feature and just his physique, the way he is designed, and the fact that his feet are literally his weapons, along with rocks. I feel like Pohatu just stands out among all the Toa as being, instead of the guy who is just in the background, there is something so special and unique about this Toa. I think I was especially drawn to his mask, the kind of elongated eyepieces. I don't know why, but as a kid I sat here and went, that reminds me of a velociraptor. I mean, don't ask me why, but it did. Sadly, over the years, I feel like Pohatu's set designs have remained very unique, but lost a lot of the specialness that the original Pohatu had. So because Pohatu was my very favorite Toa, I took special care and attention when designing him. The step between Prototype 1 and 2 I thought was so significant. I thought Prototype 2 looks really good. It's a really solid Pohatu design. And it's like in that Avmatorn body, that really awkward one, it fit Pohatu's physique so well. And of all the Prototype 2 and 3 Toa, Pohatu's was possibly the strongest design. Pohatu and Onua. From there I added more armor to him, tried to make him more bulky. There is one prototype missing from all this, where I took this design and I just sprayed him with stone texture so he was gray and he looked like a statue. Because I thought, hey, Toa of Stone, he should look like a rock. But although it made him feel very realistic, I felt like it really took him far away from what the original Pohatu design was. So I overhauled his design, just completely new body type, and I stuck with this body type of Prototype 8 and 9 for quite a while. But the paint job of Prototype 9 wasn't really doing it for me. Repainted him, tried to make him a little more like the original Pohatu, tan, brown, black color scheme. This was a really good rendition of Pohatu with Prototype 10, so I went absolutely crazy with photo shoots. Because after all, he was my favorite. I also did an animation test of Pohatu and Onua as they were kind of hanging out like during this celebration at Lake Horo or something. That was basically the context of this scene, which, you know, it was only like 1 or 2 shots, just testing out the laser technique in their eyes to see if this would work for animation, and it was pretty successful. Christopher also had a lot of fun taking out Pohatu and Kopaka outside into the snow in the dead of winter to just do a really nice photo shoot with them, kind of simulating the scene where Pohatu and Kopaka are on Mount Ihu searching for masks, like in the original comics. Now this was a really cool photo shoot that Christopher did, kind of a desert Pohatu versus Nui Jaga photo shoot. Believe it or not, it was colder this day with this photo shoot than it was with Kopaka and Pohatu in the snow. Believe it or not, it's like it was bone-chillingly cold, even though it looks hot. So this is just this is basically just a photo shoot we've had for a long time that we've never done anything with, and I'm like, you know what, I really enjoyed, you know, the work put into this. But a year or so after that, I decided to upgrade Pohatu again. I got this weird inspiration to do something unique with his mask, where like the upper part of his mask can transform and fold in, or it can fold off. In redesigning his mask, it started looking more and more like a Halo Spartan or something like that, which, don't get me wrong, it's cool, but I couldn't help at the end just sit here and go, where's the old school Pohatu that I knew and loved, you know, like the original toys, like what's happening to him? So I just took him back to the original mask. I'm like, so much better. From there, I've added some of my own alterations to prototype 12, but I basically decided at that point that if I was going to do any alterations to these Toa's masks, I was still going to remain pretty faithful to the original design. Now, prototype 14 is when Pohatu was just like amazing, and I just thought he looked so cool. He has so many details put into him, like the little gears and stuff in his legs, on his arms. His armor design is so rough, it's so mechanical. It almost looks like a character from Michael Bay's Transformers. Pros and cons to that. I even gave him little vents in his mask that open up and eject steam whenever Pohatu overheats and just releases steam from his mask. Now, like every Toa character, I'm trying to do a unique face for each Toa. Whether it's pretty or not, I want to have a posable mouth. I want it to be something that can be well animated and yet at the same time kind of look like the original Toa heads, but unique, thus giving it character. I was much more satisfied with Pohatu's face than most of the other Toa. But yeah, prototype 14 it's a great rendition of Pohatu, and I'm not going to deny when it came to actually getting to the finalized design for Toa Pohatu, it was really hard to overhaul this design and do something completely different. In the end, I do believe the upgrade was more than worth doing, and yes, I believe it's better even than this prototype, but this prototype was so good, it was really hard to move on from it. It wasn't exactly fitting in with the new design for all the Toa. They're getting far bigger. They're not the size of Glatorian anymore. No, they're the size of Titans now. It's like Axon and Brutaka or Tuma. And it just left Pohatu being too short. He's literally like only a head taller than an Agori. I want the audience to be able to differentiate that this is really a Toa and not some glorified Agori Matoran. So the upgrade was necessary. And of course, had a little fun making Pohatu stars, just kind of a hobby side project like the rest. There's a good chance I will use a lot of these body types for some Matoran and Agori in Project Toa. But again, this is about 15 years development of Pohatu. Went all the way up to 14 prototypes. That's a record as of now. And he went through a lot of different designs. I mean, it's like, again, he was my favorite, and I had some really cool ideas with him. Had some wild ideas that were not so great, but I felt like I dialed back from that and found a design that was very, very fitting for a recreation of the original Pohatu that I loved as a kid. And as I said before, the last design is even better, in my opinion. So I look forward to releasing that. On a final note, since this is Pohatu, he's my favorite Toa, I want to relive a memory real quick. The story of how I actually got my very first Bionicle, which was, of course, Pohatu. It's actually the same story of Christopher getting his first Toa, which was Gali. Throughout my life as kids, we would go on many visits to our relatives. Pretty much all our relatives are in Florida, so we would go on a trip to Florida almost yearly, but on certain occasions Dad would actually take us to the Lego store there in Orlando. And it just so happened this was around 2001 when the Toa were first coming out. Like I mentioned before, Eric got Tahu pre-ordered, and so looking through his CD promo and stuff like that, it got us really excited to get our Toa when they're finally released. This is actually a story where we learned a valuable lesson, I think. As kids, we're not just allowed to buy anything with the allowance we are given. Mom and Dad actually micromanage that a bit so that we don't just go and waste all our money on something that we weren't even sure if we wanted in the first place. It's a rare thing that we're allowed to buy something. and that makes it incredibly special. But with our Christmas money, we were going to buy our very first Toa. So on this visit to Florida, our parents were gonna let us all buy one Lego set. Toys R Us had Lewa and Anua, which my older two brothers Brian and Kevin got, but they didn't have Gali or Pohatu there. I don't know why. So Dad gave me and Christopher the option: we can buy something else now, or we can get Gali and Pohatu later when we go to the Lego store. Naively feeling like this was our only shot, I went ahead and bought a Robo Rider, and Christopher got something else too. I don't remember what it was. It must have been not that interesting. But near the end of our trip, when we went to the Lego store, it was fully stocked with every Bionicle set from 2001, with big TV screens playing the original Toa CGI commercials on repeat. We're just sitting there just staring at it, just watching. And I'm just like, our senses were overwhelmed by the pure amount of Bionicle everywhere. The excitement was so palpable, but we had already made the mistake of not waiting for what we really wanted. Realized we had made a massive mistake. It's like, well, we have already expended our purchase. To be honest, we did not cry, we did not complain, we did not even ask Mom or Dad to get a Toa now. We were far too ashamed for that. I just sat there quietly, realizing to myself I had made a massive mistake. But Dad, being the most awesome dad ever, saw we were really bummed at making a bad life decision and decided to give us all grace and let us buy one more Lego set each. That was a very special moment for me and Christopher. We were able to get our favorite Toa, and it was amazing. It was one of the best Lego memories I've ever had, but I never forgot that moment because Dad taught me an important lesson. If I pout, I can get whatever I want. No, we did not pout, but rather he taught us to wait for the thing we truly wanted, as opposed to get a cheap settlement, to get something we weren't even that excited about, and we weren't even sure if we wanted that much. Basically, he taught us patience and self-control, and also the beauty of grace when we clearly messed up this time. But yeah, I have never forgotten that lesson. It's the great memory of when I got my very first Bionicle, and it made that trip very special. I remember me and Christopher playing with Pohatu and Gali at Grand's house and just, man, having so much fun in the backyard with those Toa or out on the screened-in porch. And before we left Florida, my Aunt Vicky, who is very artistically inclined, she offered to make all 5 of us custom-painted t-shirts of whatever we wanted. I just pulled out his poster from the canister and I said, I want you to do Pohatu. Amazingly, it's in great condition to this day. It was one of my favorite shirts, so I hardly ever wore it. I have it hung up on my wall, and that in and of itself was basically like the cherry on top of quite possibly my favorite Bionicle memory. Even years later, back in like 2017, we actually brought Pohatu and Gali back there again. Just kind of relived a few memories, and even that was a pretty special memory to me. Another memory that was pretty special. One time when we were visiting our family in Florida, we went to the Lego store again, and it just so happened Pohatu Fantoka had just been released, and I ended up buying him. That Pohatu is not nearly as special as the original, but it kind of gave me that feeling of wow, it's kind of a deja vu of a really great memory. Christopher got a Baraki Takadox that was on sale there. It was like $4 off or something. This particular Takadox came with 2 squid launchers, which felt like a bonus. But yeah, we went to eat at Rainforest Cafe and stuff, and it's like just all these things just made a really cool memory. That is a trip down memory lane. That is one of my best Bionicle memories I have. Thanks for watching and taking this little trip down memory lane with me. See you next time. God bless you all. Bye-bye.